unim se ofa issues ya ba beto no mo asem no kra wo ho ya ntwese bi utie asem ya ye kan ohu se ekoye issue of technical director anka meyi aban na free esi nchen unim ba dia anka me fire be kwa no pay anka no pay straight away the FA say technical director asem ye kan men kasa mre wo ho minim ba bia me de adwuma ne ye no sem producer uye dru certain level a asem bia ba unim ba bia also director on sem de ko bra technical director eye FA no ene tua ne ka utie technical director enye sports ministry ne tua ne ka eye sikana FIFA forward sikana eba no say sikani bi ena FA edi tua technical director ka into the very moment I can issue na efa technical director no straight away men kwa ban ho
kan dia nka ye fiasem
fafa ya me ko ket mo so mo nyo mo adwuma yi e ho na no obo adwene de akere mo because it is your duty sikani ya deba no it is your duty sika mo nya bia no for administrative purposes na ye ka no ni nyina aka wo bi utua secretary ka utua technical director sa ne ma ni nyina aka wo bi enti a no straight away men fam franchen ketere ket se bema wan wadwuma yie ade na o se ba sa meboa me pa so anye yam bia when the two national team coaches ka
you know say government
enti u ka wa SMCC a when also ketere me se onye ne niam yie na de oye no enye sa na e bo no ba cha hwan enye aban me no obi akasa of Ministry of Youth and Sports anopeya enura me sign ni pa kasai ti edin komonam ka chen say chairman me ka sem bia kire wo munye serious kakrate dia mu ya no bibia ni adanse say manu fa na mo de kase and ye committed ye pese hu say ye sport no etumpon no football as a sport ye pese hu say etumpon no bibia ni wa kire mun show bibia munye bibia kire say mani abresa mpese mo pese mu say ye football no etumpon na mo de blasters nyina ye campaign meba ye papa otisui anwofedua JM and then PP na do abeso me kai pa okay so ka say Ghana bibia say bibia nkoye blasters ensu nkoye mo kai okay so ka asem okay okay asem no omo dia politics na me to omo asensu no omo de be because I didn't know omo mfanye Ghana the heart and soul of the nation ayem football me boa teach you about blasters crowd there in bobo it is excellency you see at the campaign account bibia say Ghana blasters ensu adegigi ani asay Nancy Yako World Cup. Sam George Muina and Kabi. Yako World Cup, okay, and Nijiana Bafe, the Duba, Biomse, Abawe Abresono, Blasters, Tumpo. So okay. And Timunim said, dear Bakumut media campaign, man, ye. A baby and Suba no can answer more, no can achievement, or can not the Blasters about town. The Papa for Abreso. Na achievement ya fa blasters and council for what
on me call wake up on no CG the face of football in terms of national
ya papa ta no sabreso ya kokoji under 21 cup ya mfa nka achievement ya mfa nka se de ka ho abai bia ba o kana asem one of the blasters sababeshim it tells you say o pade ba ko ye very key o the economy to nchi ye pa ya national team no na na mo didi agrosa say who we are no ba be ka kire coach ne say coach no ekwo World Cup and confirm quarter finals on van ko semi so said na coach ne tie so afen no mate ade bia say she coach ne bro for no chiro ba na you read a lot of meanings into it some of coach no after ochiro bro for tintia na you read meanings ya World Cup ni wie na
because your football your Black Stars we have to start from somewhere not necessarily the pitch
after mo baby na o kan some kai so kai and after the more problem ko na coach ne kan ho asem no mpeso obebie so no on say free baby o I come the coach I come the technical team who so on concentrate no mo draw tactics bay tactics bay I come the me who say tactics are you serious unim the all can there I come with them no who can tactics hey Bema, na mo kan sesa na ya ade no. I come the coach I say tactics. No, you got to be serious. Amanfo aba England coach wa Thomas to say na fu asawa me peche we didi peche o hwe ni bibi ada de bi sem na ho tono di la fuente mu ti ono mu fili na o coach te bench no osu o to nyame kan so na yire nso afre no be ma ade no prekese kra de beto nkwanum kra Carlos Queiroz so de opeprekese pa prekese kra de to nkwanum kra Carlos ebi ni ho Carlos ye da nkra ni school fees and look ne level no so nim say ne level no on timi mfa ne man ko school bi akeke mebo the level like Carlos e wono oh master ade na mo yesa no are we trying to say enti ye ni sika ye ho atire to the extent say ye ntimi ntwa ye coaches ka so Kim last Kim kafra wate na me se wo nya ade say nya wa mani na me ka so nya ade o sama o say emfri Kim last ye dey from price abey bra ye dey from price abey woti ada bia wani abre so beba adwuma because adentia wonim say Nhyira FM dey bosome so ya kan dem mebo so obaje
of course
enti unsuro oba mura wom because ayire so pai so kra na wotimi ma ke ato ho o bosome so ya pan dem enti mura na ade ye adwuma no ye betena head fem be ye adwuma ehu bia nim na nipa na wa ma no task kase sei o se kem mfa ye nko wo ka ba kem so ekom de no o papa no kra hwe na nim ohu kem te ho a hwe na nim o se man na bra ote so adani any pop body sensa
like 1 year yentua ne ka
1 year ti you serious I fan and fire ho but sports minister de bia nso anu gbegbegbegbe Kofi Adam lecture nsem gbegbegbegbe onimbo num che obia chairman sports minister with the greatest of respect unja tewu bro me yen kan no kwenche down for me yen say down for agro the man ought to be serious. Kofi Adams ought to be serious master unja tewu because the basic idea said you only Kofi Adams buy on said your church the ball said your canin sem ayen omo obi adresa na o man ni mbom mu pa onimbom enti wonim de ye beboa me game na tumpon but common coaches aketua keke 11 months 4 months tien coaches eto nyina common ku a unim danger wo sa de ni ekom di coaches no me pato selection be na onye mfa ma ka kire me agent bi be fa phone afre no oh coach we dey wadarumo enya bode so nka me pacho me de $20,000 we ya to mana or dey ahwe chicha ho
wa hia no wache
bra menje there bi o so nka say bride o si coach we dey wadarumo $20,000 we wadarumo e tunim danger no aba free player bi so amra me bo unim so obi ni mbo pa na ote ho anka me nya dai ekom de me na anka me nya dai tie bra you serious what owie unim asresem we nyina be kwa kogu awie ekogu wie a was kwa new coach because Desmond offered here no I can tell you as a matter of fact my member exclusive way Desmond interim uti na she coach is anim enche omudo omu CV beba so Njamel Bomadi
Algeria
the other one G Afcon no so him Thompson Field Shamu enim enche omu ebe drop your CVs enche kra beti ho asem what the cat untimi nchiai
for adwuma na ye di obi kan
oh yes since you Desmond na mu mebo mo ba be fa Desmond for interim job right
na so no mo de ka almost a year ni
and maybe say Desmond na wo fa no for interim job no Desmond no de ka say
almost a year aka one man na go year
entimeba Desmond kwa ni aka cho Desmond chale de ade na de so kanigu na yen se bibia se for say Ghana first ana meboa ubetimi akasa a kire no she said we bia me kan ti efe no aka na efe ne kan nya efe ne tuaka na se state ne se ye nya ready si ye tua den na efe betimi aka kire me anka ket be dey but what the point na say den na ket ne mpanyimfo betimi ai amuntimi nya wo hwe sikani fi aban ho na eba enti confuse to no bosu so ade onju aketua sports minister so oje wojo pay dem ubi bia odi ni soko meboa na ni adenti na wo de wo de now say in coaches name fast how mu we are more expect the best from them enti Black Queens bra be hu ana ekwan no so ana ya bona to baby yes gala we call baby because who coach come de no amanfo mu coaches ame baba be ya adwuma timi adwere tactics bra ekom hu ekom do o concentrate enye yo who obi ekom de no timi concentrate ka kire me and in coach na de ba ko ye key concentration mebo And you come the coach obet me concentrate here. You tell me.
Kofi Bram kakra from me na ye hwe ne teacher den kakra akra e wo national team ayi we ho na afi yemra local na ye ninkomo.
Me very first thing maker was and you see in all of these things the broader understanding is the fact say a picture of the total failure of Ghana governance when it comes to football. The governance of football. And again, governments in, governments out have proven clearly, say, when it comes to sports and football, we don't have an idea how to set up a proper governmental plan. Now, in terms of governance of football, there are about 3 or 4 tiers I'll be doing come. First, you talk about administrative. When you go into administrative, you talk about the finance as well. So you're talking about 2 things here, administrative and finance. Now, the reason why it's a make administrative and finance, we are talking about contracts, we are talking about the payments of the contracts. Means what in America now? Nhyira made the past government account say it's inclusive of Otuado.
Yeah.
And Otuado's monies were from there. The other people 11 months is under this government. So that is okay for them. But in the past government, and you see, this is not the very first time. First time what we say
No.
Spoken
about any intimacy no quite.
Several times. And I didn't hear because you need a dedicated source of fund. Gabi, because GFN Koko signed a contract with Kemlas Bioka Green. Almost a contract with Carlos Queiroz. Nobody can tell me he's a sports minister anymore. Because Carlos Queiroz is sports minister didn't go to a picture. Sports minister himself has approved of Carlos Queiroz's appointment.
No, but no, so I'm
and I am very, very certain in my mind, said the sports minister knows about the details of the contract. That would have been an indictment on him. Say Onima. Intimi sure the sports minister knows about it. But why is it that Yakov 4 months into the tenure has gone to the World Cup, he has not been paid? And there are 2 things. Mind you, the sports ministry and the paying body. The paying body in this country, when it comes to paying of what have you, everything governance, when you have to is the finance ministry. And that is why I'll constantly tell you, say, oh yeah, dang. It speaks to the fact that has happened in government in the past, the fact that is happening today, tells you that because we don't have a dedicated source of football funding and sports financial planning in this country, there's always a problem. Now, let me give you a clear-cut example. Say, you read the budget. Now, so far, the budget items list also now. So far, sports, there. Most of the monies that go into sports, Gabi, go essentially into payment of people that work at the ministries and in the federations, NSA, that's all. Majority, a chunk of it, about 90%. So, most of the times, when what is a sports minister, parliament, and as what say finance minister called parliament gap. That's what we read budget. Most of it, sports doesn't really have a lot. On Shirani Sika, you try to say this one, we are going to use it to pay coach or that. No. And in the past, we were constantly asking for the sports fund. See, for sports fund, that is going to be the point where we take monies. See, when it comes to sports. But those things are unavailable. And until we sit down and then plan football financing or sports financing in this country and then solve that problem once and for all, I'm telling you, this will never stop. See, the sports financing, we need to get it right once. Because when somebody says, look at the case of Otuado, Gab, say Otuado no Osaka or Germany. How do you sack somebody without his severance? Where then open Otuado without his severance? Tell me Otuado no. We should have paid the amount of money to him as a severance package. It is as simple as that. But in Otuado his severance package, his legal team has had to write to the GFA constantly. Me, I would have been on the neck of the FA if these are contracts that the sports minister did not know. But most of these were signed under him. He knows about it. But the broader picture, it's not just the sports minister. The broader picture goes towards KCL to force him. And then President John Dramani Mahama, because there are other things Okroma say and you can't fault anybody. See, I've said it several times. So you constantly call people names. In Ghana, football and sports is a secondary matter. We need to tackle healthcare. We need to tackle education, transportation, and what have you before sports comes. In fact, for us, sports is more recreational than it is business.
But if you are employed,
maybe Enuti said this is your case. Now what other needs are. That is why you need a dedicated source of funding. Senebeya football will not come and compete with education because immediately because the football should compete with education, if a free education, any Black Stars players and as a Black Stars coach, one actually beat Yanika. Even to the regular Timemunia on your sports person, they're not better because you into your school for Neka. So that is why it's important that if you're a government and you really want to take sports serious, Uber set up a dedicated source of fund for the running of sports and football in the country.
Okay.
Not what Sikabia to say, okay, this is for these people. It can come from, you see, that is why me I felt that it was very much cowardice on the part of this government to have totally scrapped the betting tax. Cap, do you know the money people are making from betting? Okay, let me give you an example. When you go to Norway, Gabi, Mr. Otiemi, who do Norway? Every tax that is taken from betting goes straight into football development. Norwegians need him say in terms of talent, they are not as good as the English. They are not as good as the French. And they develop players. Now, one of the biggest issues in Norway is that the weather is not good. So in Norway, if you really want to be able to develop players all year round, you should be able to have like a system in terms of almost stadia, almost pitches, all of them are indoor and covered. So to be able to build most of them across Norway, especially the northern part, what they did is that Sikebia and Kofo try in bets, Yajibi, then we invest in that. When this government came, because we campaigned on the wrong things, yes, we are scrapping the betting tax. Granted, I think that the amount was problematic. 10% net also. It made a lot of sense for us to reduce the percentage. Could have been 2%, could have been 1. Get fund saying. And then me could do they take me get fund and all of those things before they used to take the COVID levy and all of that.
Yeah. They're
just meager amounts. But look at the number of boarding houses, any dormitories you see across the country, science labs because of Get Fund, dedicated source of funding to improve infrastructure development at the various senior high schools. So if we really want to do a good job in sports, it's important to circle back. Where can we get a good fund of sports? And then Kofobeka will say, sports fund neighbor. The sports funds today has not hit the ground running because source of funding is the problem. Okay. So all the source of funding, the biggest one you can get is from the betting companies. Oh. Forget the taxes that they pay to the country. But on the stakes of people, on the winnings of people, 2%, 1%. The regular Ghanaian youth say, unim. After that, the conversation becomes how you use the funds. But say, mutual bet. Now say, Baba security has been improved. Now me call Baba and me should make me back to the metia ko Baba. It's a mutual bet. I'm not worried. You're taking 1%. It's the problem is when you take 10% of somebody's money. Nipaneji, Eddie 900 cities now go out 90 cities. That is too much. Nipaneji 10,000 cities now go out 1,000 cities. That is too much. But when we can manage that, the problem is not about say I don't think it's as though sports minister now we don't have a plan. Constantly we circle around it and we come back to the same position. And until you better Nasi and plan with respect to sports, have a general plan, general dossier, and follow that dossier to the T. I'll come and talk about this thing again.
Well, Kara, remember na Mima Jude, local ones, you know, you kind of say club one.